Greetings, viewers. Today I got a video about something very crummy. And no, it's not the fact that there's crap all over my workbench right now. Alright, let's set the scene here a little bit. Late one night, well, actually probably more like early one morning, when I could not fall asleep, I started watching YouTube videos. Actually, what I was doing some research for a computer project that might eventually get a video on this channel. I don't know if I ever find the parts to fix it. And then a video in the sidebar showed up, an LGR video about a Metalfish Y2 aquarium computer that I happened to look at. I know I've probably watched that video before, but it popped up in the sidebar and I wanted to watch it again. And when I did that, the entire sidebar got filled up with LGR videos of weird computers. And one of them happened to be this. And something about this case design was very interesting, very intriguing. I haven't bought a new PC case in forever. I kind of want one of those. How much would it cost me? As it turns out, there is one seller on eBay right now, at least as far as I can tell, that is actually selling these. My understanding is that these sold brand new. Now, this is in US dollars, so it's maybe not totally accurate. But my understanding is that these sold brand new for $49.95 originally, and then the price dropped $10 a year afterwards. The seller wanted $75 plus shipping for this, and I didn't really want to pay that, so I left them an offer, and basically all that I got back in return for my troubles is $6 off the purchase price and a note that we do not accept offers on individual machines. Well, that was basically what it was. We only accept offers on bulk purchases, which is not really how best offer works. So I was a little disappointed in that, but I wanted the computer a little bit more than I wanted the $70. So I bought it anyway. And I will be sure to note that in my feedback to the eBay seller. I'm not going to go as far as to give them negative or neutral over that, because that just seems petty. However, I do want other potential prospective buyers to know that that seller does not accept offers on individual purchases, which honestly is probably what people are going to do. I cannot imagine for the life of me there is anybody out there that is going to want to buy these in bulk. But I don't know. I'm just the guy who is talking into a camera on YouTube. Alright, let's take a closer look at this thing. You can see here, this tripod is kind of unwieldy, but it's here. A lot of people complain that I don't use tripods in my videos, so now I'm using a tripod. This is a GMC Innovation and Design, and no, it's not the GMC that you're thinking of. Model R2 Toast. Middle Tower ATX. Well, actually it's Mid Tower. But you gotta remember that this comes from some, no doubt, China Pride producer of PC cases, considering how cheap these actually were. Sold in the mid to late 2000s. I don't know if there's actually a date on this box. You take a look at this, you can see there's quite a bit of English on this. Come true, the ultimate design revolution. Well, this was patented, so I can tell you that. That is certainly a thing. And make practical use of the small space in the interior room. And I can tell you that's true as well. Take a look at this. This is really the selling feature of this case. As you can see, the optical drive bay, or the optical drive, actually opens from the top, sort of like a toaster. Kind of why it got the name R2 Toast. There are a couple of other different models of cases designed by these people, which is to say, they were designed by this GMC Innovation and Design company, but they were sold and distributed by a company called Auzentech, both of which were out of South Korea. They came in colors! Ooh, colors! Except the only thing that you can buy these days is the black model, which is what this is. Couldn't find any other colors. Interestingly enough, that C number, I don't know what that actually is, but this number is not too far off of the number that showed up in LGR's video. I think his was 172. So like I said, they probably didn't sell a whole lot of these, which begs the question why the eBay seller that has them thinks they're going to sell in bulk. They could have come with a power supply. I'm really quite glad that they don't, because I'm sure that those are awful things. You know, if there's this much English on the outside of the case, I can't imagine the power supply is really anything any good. Designed in Korea and manufactured in China, of course. Detachable HDD bay. I don't really know how that works, and I think we've lost our focus. Oh, wow, camera, come on. It's not that hard, is it? There we go. It does have USB 2.0 front panel. That's actually pretty nice. Although, it doesn't look like it's front panel to me, because I don't see anything on the front panel, so it's probably on the top, which a design I don't generally care for, but it's okay, I guess. Vertical loading, again, for that optical drive. HD audio, so again, it does have the audio front panel. And back in 2008, which is when this thing would have been released, HD audio was definitely a big feature. Test Intel Pass. If we come up here, you can see it says Intel Thermally Advanced Test Passed. Again, I'm not really sure what that's supposed to mean, other than maybe this thing is Pentium 4 certified. In 2008, the Pentium 4 certainly would have still been a thing, as would have the Pentium D, which was 2 Pentium 4s on the same die. Talk about a blast furnace. Alright, it's questionable who's actually still watching this video, because I find that most people tune out after about the 2-minute mark. And I'm sure I've spent 2 minutes blathering on about this box. So, let's open it. Normally I do my videos outside, in the garage, which is where a lot of my testing setup is. But, since people complain, here we are inside, on my workbench, and we're going to open this with a kitchen knife, because all of my stuff is still outside, including the knife that I use to open up boxes. And I'm not about to do something crazy like use my car keys in order to open it. Alright. Mostly because, well, I don't want to dull those, because if I dull that, then we might have an actual problem. So, this shouldn't be too difficult to do. I do want to point out, also, just worth noting, the colors that this could have come in, because I forgot to do that before. Of course, this is the black model. They also came in white. You could kind of see well, you could, until I moved the camera. You kind of see some of the colors up there. White, orange, hot pink, light green, ocean blue, and sky blue, I believe is what that is. This would have been the ocean color right here. Sort of like a deep blue kind of thing. And then this, of course, is the sky blue. Would have been nice to get one of these colors, but again, this was the only option for this available. So go ahead here, open that up, back around. And let's see how I want to do this. I have very limited workbench space, and this is why I would like to do it outside, but, you know, it's also almost 11:30 at night, so doing this outside would be terrifically impractical. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to dump this case out like this. So I'll take a look here. Watch it fall on the ground, or otherwise cause a crap branch. Alright, it's out. There is nothing else in the box. Set that aside. Here for a moment. You can see the magic within. Flip this around like this. It's a much shallower case than I expected, because this is the front here. It's actually upside down. But this is the front. And you can see here, like I said, it's quite a bit shallower than I expected. But they did say, and they did make a suggestion, that this fits the largest video cards on the market. Of course, that's at the time. So, I guess there's one thing. Let's go ahead and remove the styrofoam here. How does this plastic just like that? Okay. So I can already feel the static. Touch a computer down there that's grounded. There we go. Look at that. GMC, Innovation and Design. You get an idea here. Look at the front, the top here. Digital ports. That's actually pretty substantial feeling. I'm kind of surprised by that. But yeah, there's your audio, your USB. There's a reset switch up there. You gotta remember, it's 2008. This was the era of Windows Vista. Reset switch would have been nice. And yeah, this metal on the back. LGR was not kidding about that. That is kind of sharp. Wow, that's not good. But, yeah, you look on the back, there's space for 2 different fans. I believe it comes with one installed. I don't think they're 3-pin fans. I think it's a Molex fan, but that's fine. I should probably find another one. In fact, I probably have another one sitting in a mess somewhere around here that I could install here to add another fan, just for enhanced cooling, but I don't really care. So, I put my fingerprints all over the top. It's very scratchy, and of course it looks like there's one of those plastic baffles. Kind of hard to see. The case is black. There we go. Yeah, it looks like it's got a plastic baffle in there. Let's go ahead and take the side panel off. Oh yeah, he wasn't kidding about the screws either. These are pretty chintzy feeling. I imagine it's got a screwdriver port in the top. I imagine that if you tried to use that, you would strip it out in a few seconds. Wow. But they work just fine as thumb screws. I mean, there's nothing wrong with them. I wouldn't want to over-tighten those. The other thing I noticed is there's no handle by which to really remove the side cover. But it does come off quite easily, revealing a bunch of stuff inside. It's actually anodized black on both sides. It's kind of impressive, actually, for a cheap case. Alright, what do we got here? We got this thing that's tied up here. Looks like this is our allegedly removable... Oh, no, it does. It's got screws there. So it would be removable. The hard drive bay right here. I just realized I don't actually have a screwdriver in here either. So I'm going to have to find one of those. Actually, no, that is not true. I do have a screwdriver in here somewhere. I just have to find it. Alright, so I got that pulled. That's basically just all of your stuff here. There's some washers in here. I imagine that those are actually for the motherboard screws. And some screws, and a case speaker. That's actually nice to have. Don't know if the motherboard that I'm going to be putting in here has actually got one of those, so that's very neat to have. Here is an Auzentech limited warranty that I'm pretty sure is no longer valid, considering it says that it is... The period of warranty is 1 year. You must retain your receipt as proof of date of purchase. Most of the text on here looks pretty good. I don't see any obvious English. But I'll scan that, and maybe I'll put that... I mean, maybe I'll scan it. I'll probably just forget to do it, but maybe I'll put that in the... upload that somewhere so that people can see it. And this thing that fell on the floor here is actually an advertisement for other GMC cases, including, but not limited to, this positively ridiculous R4 bulldozer. Which is the same basic idea, except the difference is that the optical drive opens from the bottom, and it's got all this dumb plastic, hydraulic-looking stuff all over it. It's just ridiculous. Well, they did sell other types. You can see there's the R2 Toast. Get your dimensions there. They also sold this thing called the R3 Corona. That's a name that didn't age particularly well. But you could actually buy one of these. That same seller that was selling these ones actually has these ones as well, but they wanted an additional like $15 for that, and I didn't think that was worth it at all. I'd rather have this. This is infinitely cooler to me. But I don't know, maybe if I'm feeling flush someday, I'll go ahead and I'll buy one of those too. There's the R4 bulldozer that I was just talking about. You can see how the optical drive opens from the bottom. And they've also got these Noblesse series multimedia all-in-ones. Those are kind of neat looking. Almost kind of would have liked to find one of those. And then these middle tower ATX series cases, just generic. Basically, it almost looks like a server case, really. And then the AVC series, which is some AV looking cases. Again, pretty neat stuff. This is actually kind of intriguing for such a cheap case manufacturer, but you know, it really did not stand the test of time. But yeah, some of this metal is I mean, this is rounded off, so that's kind of nice, and so is this. The actual case itself is not bad, but some of the other things are pretty sharp. Let's see, let's take a look here. It's got a rubber band on it. I don't know if that rubber band is actually still compliant or not. It is. I'm sure it'll probably break on me here in a second. Get that out of there. Let's take a look, see. Alright. Let's So let's get this out of the way. What is this? This is a reset switch. And this is what looks like, this is a Molex connector. This is probably the LED power because, of course, you probably won't be able to see it because I don't think I'll be able to get a good angle at it. But there are actually LEDs up there to illuminate the drive bay. Hopefully mine actually work. I know that LGR's did not, although I think his problem was more of a power supply issue than anything else. Oh yeah, user's manual. It does have that, which I thought was dirty for a second, but that's actually just a floral print on the side there, which tells you all about everything about your new R2 toast. Congratulations on your purchase of an innovative, patent-protected PC case from GM Corporation Limited. Yeah, they weren't, they really were interested in flaunting their patents on this, weren't they? Copyright 2008. I don't think there's anything else that's of too much interest on this. I mean, really the only intriguing thing is this front panel optical drive connection, which is pretty straightforward when you think about it. It does have a few more front panel things. Power switch and power LED, which is actually kind of nice in that it's the two separate pins instead of either a 2-pin or a 3-pin. It's very annoying when cases come with one or the other, and invariably your motherboard comes with the other type. So let's take a closer look here. There's actually a fan mount in the bottom of the case, right down there, so you can put a fan down there. I think you could put a fan here, and 2 fans in the back, but that was it. Because the front of the case is taken up, of course, with the optical drive mount. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. It looks like a rivet. So there's a rivet somewhere in here that's broken. That's classy. I seem to remember that in order to get this off, you just kind of have to pull it off. Yeah, that's that's not very reassuring in the hand, I'm telling you what. But there you can see, your optical drive would basically go in here. I mean, it screws to the case. You can see there that it does have the little screw mount thingies to put your screw your optical drive into, but it mounts there, and the optical drive would actually come out here, and then the button is on the side. And if I remember right, I remember also hearing that there was a lot of issues with optical drives not necessarily being compatible with this mount set up with this button. So I'll have to see. I'll have to pick and choose my optical drive carefully, I guess. I don't know what kind of optical drive I want to put in here. I haven't really given that much thought. And I don't really know if I've got an optical drive sitting around. I'll have to go look for one. Which probably means I'm going to have to go outside anyway, even though it's 11:30. I will go ahead and get some parts, I guess, so that we can assemble a computer. That might be nice. I'll be right back, thanks to the magic of video editing. Okay, so the question, of course, is what do you do with a case like that? You know, where do you want to take, and I thought long and hard about this, where do you want to take the build? What kind of direction do you want to take the build in? Because I bought this thing, you know, sort of like a, okay, I've got it, now what kind of deal. Didn't really give any too much thought into that before actually buying it. And there's a couple of different directions that I thought about taking this in. I could turn this into a sleeper build, you know, put in something like this. I mean, not the contents of the actual box, but, you know, something like one of these boards with a big video card. But that's not really my style, and I didn't really want to spend that kind of money on hardware like that anyway. I mean, I could do the opposite of a sleeper build, the anti-sleeper build, and put like some ancient 486 thing in there. Well, maybe not a 486, that might be a little too old, but, you know, something that's still ATX, but like Pentium era. I've got a couple of boards like that have got both ATX and baby AT connections on them. I could have probably done something like that, but that's not really my style either. I wanted to go for something period correct here, which is to say, probably something, I mean, it's 2008. My judgment when it comes down to things that are actually period correct is not very good, so I'm probably completely off base on this. But back then, most of the computers that you saw were Pentium 4s, well, really most of them were Pentium Ds by that point, if they weren't Celerons anyway. any of the good ones that were actually worth having were Pentium Ds. You maybe saw the odd Pentium 4 here or there, or Core 2 based systems. You know, Core 2 Duos and Core 2 Quads. The really highfalutin systems were Core 2 Quads by then. And I thought about this board right here. Again, not what's actually what it says on the box, but what's in it. This is an Intel D955. What does that say? XBK? Yes, XBK. Probably a decent little board. I don't think there's too much wrong with this. It's DDR2. It's a full-size ATX board, so it would fit in that case. It would fit just fine. But I don't really want to use this because I'd have to find a heatsink, and I don't really want to go looking for a heatsink for this. I'm sure I've got one sitting around somewhere. But I'm lazy. I don't want to go looking for a heatsink. It's a Pentium D840. I don't really want to shove a Pentium D in there with its 130 watt TDP. That's just kind of ridiculous. So we're not going to use that. No, what I'm going to use is something a little bit better. Although one might question, I just said I didn't want to put a blast furnace in there, and yet I'm going to put something that is also kind of a blast furnace in there. So I'll bring back this box right here that says Primex 399. That's not what's actually in here, of course. But I have a pair of these motherboards. These are Asus P5K SE EPU boards. Looks like this one's quite dirty. Look at that. These probably have not seen the light of day in almost 5 years. Maybe even a little bit longer than that. These boards and I don't have a particularly good history. I've had a lot of problems with these, mostly because of the stupid crappy IDE on the bottom not actually working properly. But I have two of them. Both of them have RAM on them. I believe this one looks like it's got some pretty fancy stuff on it. Focus, there we go. Looks like it's got 2 gigs of PC2 6400. That's actually not too bad, all things considered. The other one, what does that have on it? It's the same board, there's no difference here. This is basically the same thing. Again, it's fancy RAM. It's G-Skill memory. But this is, again, 2 gigs of PC2 6400. It's the same board. P5K SE EPU. Same subset of features. Undoubtedly the same problems. I have an I/O shield for both of them. I don't know if either one of these actually still works. But that's part of the fun, right? So that's what I'm going to go ahead and put in there. One of these motherboards with the RAM that it's got. 2 gigs should be good enough. I don't know. I may go ahead and just consolidate the RAM and put both sets of RAM sticks on one board, but I don't remember if there was a compatibility issue with doing that. Of course, a motherboard is only about half the story. I have this bag of everything else that we need. Of course, first things first that we obviously are going to need is we need some connectors for data for our drives. So I've got a couple of serial ATA cables here, nothing special. Nothing really great, honestly, they're just there. Something that will make my viewers very happy, because again, this is something a lot of people complain about. Here is a SanDisk X110 SSD, 250 gigs in size, that I'm going to use as the primary disk for everything. I've also got this 500 gigabyte Seagate drive, nothing special, 7200.12 disk that I'm going to use for backups, because I'm going to go ahead and run regular backups off of this drive because I don't trust it. Alright, so those, and for video, unfortunately, none of the power supplies that I could find have got a PCI Express power connector on them, so I'm rather limited with video. I mean, I know I've got some, but they're out in storage right now, and I can't go out to storage because it's midnight and the place is closed. So, for testing, I have this random GT520 card from NVIDIA. It's actually an Asus card. It's an Asus OEM. Probably a piece of crap, but, you know, if it works, it works. Speaking of if it works, it works. I have 2 possible optical drives here. This is the one that I want to use. This is just a random LG burner drive, but you can see that it's seen better days. Wow. But it's period correct. You can see there. 2008. So if it works, hey, I'll go ahead and I'll use that. If not, I have this Hitachi LG drive here. This isn't as full capable. Actually, it is. It does burn DVDs. So it's basically the same drive, just slightly different. And it's got some screws in it already, but I'm not going to be using those screws anyway. And for a power supply, I just have this Fortron Sparkle power unit here, 350 watts. Again, I'm kind of surprised not to see a PCI Express power connector on this, but it doesn't have one. It almost looks like it does. Okay, change cameras here because this one, the battery's dead, and the other battery is still charging. And I need a roving camera anyway in order to really kind of do this justice. So, hey, now we're using a camera from 2008. Isn't that something? Anyway, well, I think this one might be a little bit newer. I don't know. Maybe it was the ZI6 that was from 2008. Anyway, who cares? So this thing, what I've got going on here is I've installed the I/O plate, and otherwise what you get in the bag, of course, there's the bag of all the screws and the extra standoff, which I might install in this case just so that they're there. My motherboard only extends out to these holes anyway, I think. Yeah, I don't think it doesn't go quite out far enough to hit these, so I could put those standoffs and the extra screws there. Here's a slot cover, which would go here if I were using it, but I don't think I will be. Even this is pretty sharp. There's the little speaker, which I believe I will be using because this board doesn't have a speaker. And there's this. And these, I believe, are actually little stoppers that are meant to go on your optical drive to prevent the CDs from falling out. So I guess we'll see if that actually works. Let me get the board installed here, and then I will come back. Okay, so there is the motherboard installed in the case, and the extra screws. Now I just have to hook up all the front panel stuff. You can see I've also removed the little drive cage. I had to in order to get that standoff there installed. Here it is. I don't really know, I don't have a whole lot of confidence in this. This is extremely flimsy, so I don't know how this is supposed to work. Front panel stuff is installed in the case, including the little speaker. I've also put in the video card and the screws, which gives me opportunity to talk about the expansion card area on this. Calling the fit and finish of these screw holes mediocre is giving them a lot of credit. They are wow bad. So none of these screws actually fit in here properly. I'm sure I could pop them out with no issue whatsoever. So they'll probably all go flying around this case as soon as I go to transport it for the first time. But you know, it's a $50 case. What do you expect? But at the same time, it really would not have killed them. That's a standard screw head. It would not have killed them to actually put some effort into that. Alright, there are the drives, and I don't know about that. It's kind of hard to see, but you might be able to see that the hard drive there juts up basically right against the case. And that's a little iffy, but I guess it works. So now all I need to do, I'll need to get the power supply installed, and then I need to get the optical drive installed. Alright, back to the good camera, yay! Okay, before I install the optical drive, which is what I'm going to do next, here's a look inside the case. And you can see that my cable management job is impeccable and should not be questioned. Now, I ran into one problem with this, and that is that apparently this power supply only has 2 SATA connectors. So that was kind of a pain, but I guess whatever. The optical drive will have to learn to live with a Molex SATA adapter. So, I'm going to go ahead here, flip this on its side, once again pull this off, which is very reassuring, I can tell you that. Get that out of the way, get those out of the way, and we'll try and install this. Okay, hard to see, but there it is. It's installed. I don't like that design. I think it's actually kind of stupid that they've designed it the way that they've designed it. I think it would probably be easier if I put it on the back, but oh well. So I should be able to simply put this in. Oh no. Oh, that's a tight fit. Of course, it was a tight fit before. And let's see here. I'll flip it around and we'll take a look. Well, that's going to work. At least I think it's going to work. And it looks like it's not going to bind up against the cover. I guess we'll find out once I apply power, which we're basically ready for. All I need to do is put the side cover on, get a keyboard, get a mouse, and then we should be ready for some power on business. Okay, the lights just flickered ominously, so I'm sure that we're about to lose power or something equally as great. Maybe I'll trip a breaker trying to power this thing on, but I've got it ready to go. Unfortunately, this is the best that I can do in terms of angle of everything. There's the monitor, it's partially blocked, doesn't really matter how I put the camera, so let's see if this thing explodes. There's the power switch. When I power it on, well, it didn't explode yet. Hey, it works. Sort of. My power LED isn't working, but, well, there it goes. I haven't gotten a beep yet. It's not very promising. That is not very promising at all. Okay. I think we got a problem here, but we can at least check this out. Does it eject? Oh, it does. That's the part that needs to work right there. It's a little stiff. Yeah, it works. That's good. I don't know about that. Well, it's not too bad. So I guess I gotta figure out why this thing isn't booting, and then I'll come back. Okay, I went ahead and I pulled the extra RAM out. Let's see if it works now. It is doing nothing, man. I have no power LED. Well, there's the power LED. That's a video issue. Kind of expected, really. Okay. Doesn't like this video card, I guess. Or maybe the slot is loose. Try again. Oh, there we go. Guess it was just loose. I probably just missed the setup. But, yeah. Please enter setup to recover settings. That battery is toast, but that's okay. Well, that battery is very toast. We've gone back to the year 2002. Alright, so that's promising. I'm going to go ahead and get the cover back on and resituate here and see what I can do. Okay, I just saw a light flicker again. I don't know what's going on, but anyway. Maybe I'm just nuts. Maybe there's a thunderstorm going on outside and I'm not paying any attention to it. Anyway, let's try and set this. You can see here that everything is pretty much reset back to defaults completely. Oh, it is almost 2 o'clock. Oof. Sunday. I'm on vacation, actually. Hamfest is soon. So there's all our drawings. We can see all of those. You don't really get any options there. This doesn't support AHCI. And you can see there are specifications: 2 gigs of RAM, 2.4 gigahertz Core 2 quad, Q6600. Is the rear case fan actually running? It is running. Alright, so that's good. It's not moving a whole lot of air. Jumper-free configuration. That's awfully tempting to do a little bit of overclocking, but I don't think I will for the time being. So I'll set this BIOS up to my liking, and then I'm going to see what I want to do in terms of an operating system. You know, put this optical drive in here, but I'm not sure I'm going to use it. We'll see. I might use it. I'll see if I can find something that I can put on a DVD. First, before I continue, a quick look at the hardware monitor here. You can see temperatures are looking pretty good, pretty normal. And everything there looks pretty normal. Looks like it's got 3 fan headers, which is honestly very few for a for a full-size ATX board. But I think what I'm going to do on this, as it reboots itself, is I'm going to net boot it. F8 is the key to net boot, or F8 is the key to get to a boot menu. And that is what I would like to do. Let's try the Auzentech boot agent. See if my PXE server is actually working. Because it might not be. Yeah. So I'll have to see if I can find a DVD. I'll have to fix that server too. But I'm pretty sure that it was working. Maybe this system just doesn't like it. Just really quick here, taking a look at this in the dark. And the lights are pretty dim up there, but it looks pretty spiffy. Can't really see a disc, but it does look pretty nice. I'm surprised that optical drive actually works with how rusty it is. Alright, hopefully my disc will finish burning soon. Here's the part where we get to see if this optical drive actually works at all. Boy, that's really difficult to push. Alright. Give it a second here to spin up. And we'll choose the CD-ROM option. Unfortunately, the only mouse I have to hand at this moment is this Apple mouse. Alright, ISO Linux. Let's see. I would like to install Ubuntu Budgie. This is an older release, but it's what I had handy. And that would actually fit on a DVD. So a lot of things these days don't actually fit on a DVD any longer, which is a little unfortunate, but what can I say? It's 2024, most people don't use DVDs anymore. Okay, I actually went ahead and emptied the SD card because I don't believe that 5 minutes is really enough. And I have no mouse. Oh, there we go. So we'll just go ahead and run through the install on this. Maybe. That's interesting. This is a single button mouse, I think, right? It's slow to respond. May as well install that because we do have a no video card in here. Now, I want to erase the disk and install. If it'll let me select that option. I probably don't need any advanced features. I'm going to hit the continue button. And we will select the 256 gig serial ATA drive. The entire disk will be used. We'll hit install now. It should ask me if I want to confirm that. Yes. Partition 1 as nothing. Well, that's okay. But continue. And I think for the most part, the rest of this is just a simple filling in the personal information. We'll go ahead and show you this. The hard drive LED and power LED are in the same housing there, which I think is kind of interesting. That's something that a lot of cheaper cases do. It doesn't actually look too bad, all things considered, and it cuts down on a lot of the stuff that's in there. You might have just seen it flash there briefly. Alright, installation complete. And we'll hit the restart. Hopefully we'll actually do that here soon. This won't take too long. It's already past 3 in the morning. Boy, am I glad that I don't have to go anywhere. Oh boy. This should eject on its own here. Wow. What is taking that so long? Oh, here it comes. Well, here we go. Windows 7. Well, okay, I'm going to have to do some work on that. Here's a desktop. This is the budgie version of Ubuntu. Very Mac-like. I would like to format this second disk here. Authentication required. I'll leave it at free space for now. I'll configure the backups later. Ask me later. I will have to do it eventually, but I'll let it ask me that later. I need a terminal. Oh my gosh. Everything's opening now. So that now should be good. I shouldn't have a stray Windows 7 option anymore. And now we gotta run updates. I suppose we guess we better let it do that. Or maybe it'll crash. Oh, there it goes. Well, here's another project that's gonna end in failure because this is not something I feel like dealing with right now. I know what the problem is, but I don't have a way to really fix it at this particular juncture because I don't have a power supply in here that has got a PCI Express power connector. So what's going on here is I'm updated to the latest release of Ubuntu Budgie, which is what I am running on this machine. Go ahead and close this. It's pretty much useless to us anyway. You'll notice a problem right away. I can't see anything on this screen because it is running at 640 by 480. Now, I wasn't doing that before, as you saw. The problem is that the GT520 is no longer supported by this version of Linux. In particular, it's no longer supported by it's no longer supported by the NVIDIA drivers. So, one of the many reasons why the NVIDIA drivers NVIDIA in general is an awful company that should cease existing, along with Microsoft, preferably yesterday, but whatever. It's not going to work. And the only way that I'm going to be able to solve this problem is to get a new video card in here, but because it's, almost 5 o'clock in the morning, I ain't got time for that, so I'm just going to go ahead and shut it down. I'm going to close the video. So, thanks for watching. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them below. We'll revisit this at a later time. At least the build happened to work out. You saw there briefly the error message that I was talking about. This GPU is not supported, even though it's not that old.